At the east end of town, at the foot of the hill, there's a chimney so tall that says Aragon Mill. Now there's no smoke at all coming out.
Heading on up to my grandparents. I used to come up here a lot as a kid. I was just so fascinated with the town. The town's called DuBois. But pretty much I came up here as a kid all the time, had really good memories, and we're gonna go pay my grandparents a visit. So that's where we're going now.
Weave and spin. There's no children at all in the narrow empty street, since the looms have all gone. I'm so quiet I can't sleep. Sorry. Hey Tyler, how you
Grandpa.
doing? Now I'm too old.
How was your trip up?
It was good.
Good. Come on in.
All right.
To go for my woman and I.
Who are you?
I'm Dave Marshall. I'm your grandfather.
You are.
Tell me where will I go? Tell me where will I go? We moved back here in 1958. I was 6 years old and started first grade in a one-room schoolhouse. There were 3 classes, all in the same room with a coal furnace in the middle and outhouses. I went in the Navy after I graduated from high school, and I was all over, but every place I went, this was always home. All my family was here, all my people that I knew were here, and so it just seemed natural to come back. In my day-to-day life, it's a lot different now because I'm retired. Yeah, I don't have to worry about getting up in the morning where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do. And it's a nice place to live. You know, it's not rush and rip and tear like it is in the big city. It's just easier. Now I guess that's why I'm back here instead of someplace else. Well, I enjoy walking around town. I like walking around and seeing the things you don't normally see when you walk through town, you know. Well, a lot of the things that have changed is the things that have moved out. The big fire in 1888, I mean, the whole town practically burnt to the ground and they started over again. The fire originally started here at the corner of Franklin Street, and that moved up through town, and I'll show you the progress where it got from the placard. You can see it was devastating. It burned just about everything there was down. Burnt everything from there clear up to the other side of town here. I mean, it was devastating. But DuBois raised from the ashes, just like the Phoenix. I mean, they started rebuilding before the insurance money even came in. Now we're coming up on the DuBois Historical Society that was created here a few years ago, and the guys that are running it are really doing a fantastic job. There's so much history in this town. It is amazing that what they've collected, what they've gathered, the work they're doing to keep it going. Now the back wall of the Historical Society is actually the wall where the 1888 fire got that far. From that point to where we came up Franklin Street, it was all gone. But they came back really big time, and they had lumber mills were here. The first thing that brought people to this area was cheap land. That was back in the early 1800s. And then as it got bigger and Johnny DuBois moved in and started the timbering operations, it became DuBois. Standing here in front of what is called now Juniata Lake, it used to be called Tannery Dam. This was a site of where John DuBois had his sawmill, and one of the side effects of having lumber is when you timbered hemlock, the hemlock bark was used in tanning. So he said, I've got all this hemlock bark, let's put a tannery up. So they built a tannery here. A large building was put over here, and eventually all this money was donated to the city. The town was split in half by the Sandy Lake Creek. And if you were on this side of it, the lumber mills were all over here. On the other side, we were all coal miners. And that's the way DuBois got to be the way it is now. What you're seeing now is Sandy Lake Creek and what used to be the DuBois Meadow, and is now the city park, and that's American Legion building over there. And in 1972, they had a massive flood. Hurricane Agnes came through, and Sandy Lake Creek went over its borders, and just about everything you can see was under about 3 feet of water. Here, coal was huge. When they started the timbering and they found out that there was coal in the region, they moved in and they started mining coal. All this area all around here is undermined with coal mines. One of the nice things about these small towns is when you look at the architecture of some of the things that are here and some of the facades on these buildings, and just think how beautiful they must have been when they were brand new. And all these storefronts that are here now, most of them were filled with restaurants and bars and all kinds of different things. But it was a busy little town back in the days when I came to town here. And all the stores in downtown DuBois were downtown. Yeah, Montgomery Ward, Sears, Penny's. You'd come to town on a Friday night, it was like a holiday because everybody you knew was in town on Friday night. Across the street where Hockman Candy is, it used to be the corner drugstore. Across the street is the Pennsylvania Academy of Cosmetology. It used to be, at one time, it was a J.C. Penney building. The store started moving out to the mall, then the downtown started to go downhill, and these empty buildings were there, and somebody would come in and open something up, and then shortly after that it would close down and move away. But all the stores would move to the mall. Now the mall is the same way. Everybody's moving out of the malls, and the malls are empty, and that's all over. And I had a friend that when he used to come to school, they'd go out to the parking lot and get their shotguns out of their cars and go hunting ringnecks in the meadow up behind the football field, because from Liberty Boulevard to where the DuBois Mall is at that time, there was nothing. It's just an empty meadow, and all along 255, if you were going out towards the mall, that was all farmland. Now what we're overlooking right here is the Beaver Meadow and the Beaver Meadow Walkway. Beaver Meadow Walkway starts at Liberty Boulevard and runs to Schaefer Road in front of the mall, 2.5 miles. So at that time when I came to town, that 2.5 miles, there was nothing here at all. There was no Beaver Meadow Drive, there was no walkway, there were none of these buildings that you can see clear over to almost the horizon. The Walmart over there was not there, the hotel wasn't there, and as far as you can see, there was nothing. So that's all come since I've been here almost 40 years ago. Nothing is ever going to stay the same. It's always going to change. Sometimes it changes for the better, sometimes it changes for the worse, but it's always going to change, and you have to be able to accept that change and learn to live with it, no matter what it is. You can't expect things to stay the way. And if you wanted them to go back the way they used to be, would you want it? Sometimes, if you start thinking about it. I know I don't want to go back to where I used to have to use an outhouse. I never liked it in the first place. Sorry. Now I'm too old to change, and I'm too young to die, and there's place to go for my woman and I. Now the mill has closed down, it's the only sound I knew. Tell me where will I go? Tell me where will I go? And the other one is a Paradise song about a guy down in Kentucky when coal mines came through. When I was a boy, my family would travel down to western Kentucky where my parents were born. There's a backwoods old town that often remembered so many times that my memories are worn. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, it's too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train hauled it away. Mr. Peabody's coal train hauled it away. That's it.
Really pretty.
Very good.